Hi, my name is Sherry, and I am hosting Skywagon Podcast today. And we have a visitor who has joined us before, John Rucker, and he's going to be sharing with us one of the most amusing stories that I've ever heard of a teenage boy who had to make a decision with hilarious consequences. And then he'll be talking to us about his volunteer flying, and we're looking forward to hearing from him. Welcome, John.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah, last time you were here, you shared some great stories, and one of them was highly worth repeating. And so I wanted to have you share that story. You grew up in a household where your father was a pilot and did a lot of flying. And tell us about your interest in flying at that time.
Yes, like you say, my father was a consummate pilot. Back in the days when airplanes were very, very simple. I remember when he first got a VOR, and he was so thrilled with that. And he was very passionate about flying, so he shared those thrills with me. And
Were you an only child?
No, my sister was 22 months younger than me,
Okay.
and she would go along for the ride, but she didn't look for reasons to fly like I did. I was,
Okay.
Can't we go someplace so we can fly?
Oh, how fun.
And so that was something that I grew up with. And I really think that flying gets in your blood or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So my interest started very young. And I remember having dreams, 9, 10 years old, where in my dream, I would go out to the airport and get in my dad's plane and start taxiing around.
Oh.
And I got going too fast and I took off. Well, I managed to fly the airplane in my dream, but it always ended up where I couldn't land.
Oh.
So I would share those dreams with my dad, and I think that kind of encouraged him to keep me engaged in aviation.
So he made an offer to you as a teenage boy.
He did, yes.
Tell us about that.
When I turned 16, he came to me and said, I will help you get your private pilot's license and you can fly my airplane. And he had a nice 182 in the mid-60s. Or I'll help you buy your first car. And I said, well, okay. Let me think about that. And my mind went date car, airplane. And immediately, I didn't even take more than a minute. I said, car. Now I go bang. So a couple of months went by, and boy, I went into investigative mode. I love to research. So I'm looking at, 57 Chevy Bel Airs were just really cool, and 69 SS 396s, which were just really fast. And a girl would get in either one of them, right?
Now, what year was this? Were these new
this
cars?
This was 1968.
So you were looking for new cars from your dad.
69. Yeah, it was 1969 because I was a junior in high school. Yeah, and well, I was dreaming. The 57 Chevy was probably more realistic.
Okay.
And so, I had, back in the days, we had want ads, newspapers. So I had those laid out on my floor, and one circled and ready to make phone calls and checking prices and trying to figure out how much is my dad going to kick in and how much am I going to have to pay for. And so one day he comes into my room and he says, come out to the driveway. And I said, what's up? And he goes, well, I told you I'd help you get your first car. So I walk out in the driveway, and here's kind of a rundown 1942 military Jeep, Willys, no heater, no radio, no doors, just a plastic top on it. So he said, well, here it is. Here's your car. I told you I'd help you buy your first car.
With no input at all.
Yes, no input.
No input.
So the lesson was, obviously, think about something more than 30 seconds before you make any kind of major decision in your life. And, don't pass up a great deal for a, emotionally driven decision.
So did you ever take a girl out on a date in this car?
I think a couple of times. I actually borrowed my dad's GMC, 64 GMC truck because that was a better date car than my Jeep. So,
And then years later, when you thought about that transaction, what conclusion did you come to?
oh my gosh, it took me a while to figure out he was teaching me a lesson. He wasn't punishing me, he was training me, but I also realized through that process that he wanted a Jeep. He drove it more than I did, so
I love that story so much.
lesson learned. And when I started flying, it really sunk in that he was really trying to teach me something. And I had said, oh, I'll get back to flying my senior year, and it just it didn't happen. And then it wasn't until I was 59 that the stars aligned and I could start flying.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so as a pilot who started later, actually, my dad started kind of late too. I think he was in his 50s as well. Mm-hmm. And because, the stars align, you have money.
Right.
And you can fly.
Time.
So, yeah.
And your wife aligns with the stars. That's the big one.
Yeah. My mom actually knew my dad wanted to fly. And she circled the ground school ad and gave it to him. And he was shocked. And he was like, really? You want me to do this? So it was quite exciting.
That was very freeing.
It was. Okay, so you're starting to fly at age 59. And one of your motivations, I understand, was you wanted to get some hours under your belt.
I did. Starting at that age and knowing that pilots age out if they live long enough, I wanted to build my proficiency early on. Plus, I was just enamored with flying. My first actual takeoff that I did with instructor there, but I had full control of the airplane, was just an overwhelming emotional experience because it made me realize how good my dad was. I'm flying, easy to fly, well-equipped airplane, plenty of power, and he flew these he soloed in the Piper Cub in 1947 that had 65 horsepower, with an instructor in the back. So,
wow,
you're working pretty hard. And I flew all over the Western United States, Canada, Mexico with him.
Wow.
And he was just, no GPS, no Loran.
Wow.
He flew pilotage with a map on his lap all the time, and we never got lost.
Wow, that's awesome.
Never had problems. So that was a real eye-opening thing to realize how good pilots in those days really were.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're on this adventure now, trying to accumulate hours, as any pilot would want to do. You want to spend as much time in the sky behind the wheel and the controls. How did you do that?
Well, one of the things I did was offer to anybody that needed to go someplace a flight. And I also found out that there was needs in the community for people to get places either quickly or they couldn't afford to get there. So I volunteered to fly people to medical appointments or to a funeral or any. I flew to a couple of folks at different times to funerals in Oregon and Washington, and of course picked up dogs for my kids in Oregon. But and that gave me opportunity to build my time. But one of the things I felt was that as a Christian, that God provides all good things, and this was obviously a good thing for me. So to offer that as a resource for ministry to anybody that wanted to use it was another way. I flew pastors back and forth for different events or their families and friends in our church to doctor's appointments when they couldn't ride in a car to Southern California and those kind of things. So that gave me opportunities to do that.
Wow.
And then ended up donating flights to different organizations, and they would auction them off. And,
Oh, great.
and that's been a real encouragement for me to help people in that way.
Yeah. Is that something you still do?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I have
That's
a flight
awesome.
tomorrow morning.
That's great.
Yeah.
On any of these flights, have you had some interesting experiences that you want to share?
A friend of mine wanted to fly to Vacaville to have lunch, and I just flown to Chico, and at that point I had one of the airplanes I had was a Beach Sport, which is a low wing, and in a low wing, unlike a high wing, you have to monitor the fuel and make sure it's on the tank that has the fuel in it, which is a good idea.
Yes.
And I had been flying high wing Cessnas, and you just put them on both tanks and fly. You don't have to worry about it. So this change in my flight plan resulted in me dropping my son-in-law off in Cameron Park on the way back from Chico, and then flying over to Mather, picking him up, and heading to Vacaville. We got out over about Davis, and it sputters, and then it quits.
Oh,
And
every pilot's nightmare.
yes. My immediate response was, Troy, this is not good.
Yeah, every passenger's nightmare too.
Yes, even more so.
Exactly.
And I looked over, and he's locked up, quiet, calm, but not saying anything. So I went through the emergency procedures, and thankfully I've had good instruction from conscientious trainers, and got to the fuel tank and switched it to the one with fuel in it. It fired right up. So we went to Vacaville, landed, had lunch, obviously put in a bunch of fuel, and took off. And as we're climbing out, about 500 feet or so, my door pops open on my side.
Oh no.
So I said, this is no big deal, Troy. I'll just circle around. We'll land and close the door and take back off again. So,
Did you try closing it while you were in the air?
oh, yeah.
Oh.
With all my might.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just not possible. So we are on short final. I've got all the rudder in that I can get to line the nose up with the airplane, and it's not happening.
Oh.
It's still crabbed. If we land, Beechcraft Sport has very rigid, unforgiving landing gear. We're going to rip the landing gear off the airplane. So
And that's all because the door is open.
And as
That's
the
creative.
lower we get, the more it's open and more it's crabbing the airplane. So we climb out, go around. I tried one more time to close. I said, that's not going to work, Troy. And he says, well, what do we do? I said, there's only one thing we can do. You're going to have to lay across my lap and grab the door and pull it closed with all your might. And he said, what are the other options?
While we land? Is that while you were landing?
While we land, yeah. I said, I got to have both hands, one on the throttle, one on the yoke. And he says, what are the options? And I said, well, we die eventually. And he said, let me think about that. And so he said, okay, I'll lay across your lap. So we get into short final. I said, okay, Troy, do your thing. So he lays down, pulls on the door, and the airplane straightens out just enough. We touch down and go get gas.
Oh my gosh.
And I just put new upholstery in the airplane. So the door was really tight, and it felt like it latched, but it hadn't. So in one flight, 2 incidences with the same guy, and he'll still fly with me. I think he's more crazy than I thought. So.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Lots of other little ones too, but
Yeah.
you know, well, one others that's kind of interesting. I was flying to Oroville frequently because we were doing a job at a hospital up there, and the FBO had their old Toyota crew car stolen, and I mean, somebody steal that. I'm not. I don't understand. So I couldn't go into Oroville and get to the job site from there. So I noticed that there was an agricultural aviation private airport just up the road. So I called them and I said, a possibility I could land there. And he said, oh, sure, no problem. He said, it's a very short strip. And he gave me the footage, and I said, I can make that. I'll just watch my numbers real carefully. And he said, yeah, come on up. So flew over, took a look at the airport. Yeah, the runway was short, so I was trying to be on my game, short field landing. And I'm coming down, and I'm at, 50 feet off the ground again. And all of a sudden, I realize there's a building right on the edge of the runway, and it's crop dusters, so I know there's enough clearance. So I'm staying right on center line. I'm watching my airspeed real carefully. All of a sudden, I see a 3-inch light pole go right past my other wingtip.
Oh, no.
And I'm thinking, my word, this guy was concerned about the length of the runway, but he didn't say anything about the obstructions on short final. And I sat down and kind of got composed and taxied back and went and did my thing and came back. And I thought, these guys are flying turboprop crop dusters in there. They are so good, they don't even think about telling me about, threading the needle on short final between these two obstructions.
Oh, my gosh.
I learned that those guys are way better than I am.
Yeah.
at landing with obstructions like that.
Amazing. Well, you accumulated a lot of hours in a pretty short time. How many hours do you currently have?
I have about 2,500 plus hours.
Yeah. If you were to give another pilot who's looking to accumulate hours some advice, what advice would you give?
Well, fly when you can. If money's not an issue, just, practice. Moving up through different certifications and training is really good. IFR was phenomenal for me. I don't use that a lot in weather, but it just made me a better pilot.
Oh, good.
I'm much more comfortable in flying into the Bay Area or San Diego when it's busy and there's Class Bravo airspaces. I can hook up with IFR even though the weather's clear,
right,
and it gives you better opportunities.
Right.
And it takes a fair amount of time, both in the books and in the air, to get an IFR rating.
Yeah.
But it's well worthwhile.
Yeah.
Gliders. I got an opportunity to sit front seat in a glider. that was just really eye-opening as to how much a glider pilot can use the atmosphere to control his airplane. And you only get one shot landing. It's not like go-rounds are not a possibility in a glider. So it really fine-tunes your thinking and your skills both on how to set down an airplane. And I feel much more confident if I had an engine out that I could do a better job with that.
Nice.
So, and just take your friends places.
Cost sharing is always an option.
Yes,
if you don't have a commercial pilot's license.
Right. Yep. FAA controls all those parameters, but it's that's a possibility.
Very good.
$100 hamburgers taste a lot better than they're $250 now, but they taste a lot better than a drive-through. So.
Very good. It's all about the adventure.
Oh yes, it really is. Yeah.
Very good. Well, John, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoyed the stories.
Great to be here.
Yeah. If you enjoyed what you saw, we would love to have you subscribe to our channel. You can click the notifications button and you'll learn when new podcasts are uploaded. And also, if you have an interesting story, we would love to hear it. And you can send your idea to us at a podcast at skywagons.com. We now have the ability to do these interviews over the internet, so you don't have to be here in studio. We'd love to have you in studio, but that's not an obstacle. So thanks so much. We look forward to talking to you next time.